You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're exhausted from fighting a silent war inside your mind. And today, we finally talk about the truth behind depression that nobody in America wants to admit. This deep dive guide is designed to serve as a comprehensive roadmap for navigating depression within the unique context of modern American life. It is intended to offer both the clinical why and the practical how, providing you with the tools to reclaim your agency when it feels most out of reach. Depression in America. A deep dive guide to understanding and healing. 1. The anatomy of depression. Beyond the sadness myth. In a culture that often prizes high performance and hustle, depression is frequently misunderstood as a lack of willpower or a temporary bad mood. However, clinical depression is a systemic physiological and psychological state. The brain on depression. Depression isn't just a chemical imbalance, it's a structural and functional shift in the brain. The amygdala. This alarm bell of the brain becomes hyperreactive, causing constant feelings of dread or anxiety. The hippocampus, responsible for memory and learning. This area can physically shrink under chronic stress, leading to the brain fog and forgetfulness common in depression. The prefrontal cortex, the CEO of the brain, which handles decision-making, becomes sluggish. This is why deciding what to eat for dinner can feel as taxing as a complex work project. The American symptom, high-functioning depression. Many Americans suffer from dysthymia or persistent depressive disorder. You might still be meeting your deadlines, paying your bills, and attending social events, but you feel like you are doing it all underwater. This masking is exhausting and often delays people from seeking the help they deserve. 2. Why America? The societal drivers of despair. To heal, we must acknowledge the environment we live in. America provides unique challenges that act as kindling for depressive episodes. The achievement trap. We are raised in a meritocracy that tells us our worth is tied to our productivity GDP. When we face job loss, debt, or a lack of progress compared to peers, our self-esteem takes a direct hit. This creates a cycle where we work harder to feel better, leading to burnout, which fuels further depression. The digital paradox. We are the most connected society in history, yet we report record levels of loneliness. Passive consumption. Scrolling through highlight reels triggers the upward social comparison loop. The loss of third places. In the US, we have lost many third places community spots that aren't home or work. Without these, our social circles shrink to digital avatars, which do not provide the oxytocin hit of in-person contact. 3. The lies depression tells you. Depression is an unreliable narrator. It uses your own voice to convince you of things that aren't true. Recognizing these cognitive distortions is the first step in regaining control. Catastrophizing. Because I missed this deadline, I will get fired and lose my house. Emotional reasoning. I feel like a failure, therefore I am a failure. The always, never filter. I will always feel this way, or I will never be happy again. Insight. Thoughts are not facts. They are mental events driven by your current neurochemistry. 4. Building your fortress. Preventive emotional fitness. Think of these as structural supports for your mental health. They don't cure depression overnight, but they raise the floor of how low you can sink. The biological big 3. Circadian health. Exposure to 10 minutes of sunlight before 10 a.m. regulates your cortisol melatonin loop. This is the single most effective free tool for stabilizing mood. Movement as neurogenesis. Exercise isn't about the body. It's about the brain. Physical activity releases BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which helps repair the neural connections depression damages. Nutritional psychiatry. The standard American diet set is high in inflammatory processed sugars. Since 90% of your serotonin, the feel-good hormone, is produced in your gut, what you eat directly dictates how you feel. 5. Taking control. Strategies for the dark days. When you are in the thick of a depressive episode, you cannot think your way out. You must act your way out using low-friction strategies. Strategy. The micro-goal framework. Depression makes the future feel like a giant, overwhelming wall. To scale it, you must break it into pebbles. The rule of 5. If you can't clean the room, pick up 5 things. The shower principle. Often, the transition is the hardest part. Don't think about getting clean. Just think about turning on the water. Strategy B. Opposite action DBT technique. This is a core component of dialectical behavior therapy. Depression creates an urge, for example, stay in the dark. To heal, you must perform the opposite action. The urge. Isolate gives the action. Text one person a thinking of you message. The urge. Stay in bed gives the action. Sit in a chair in a different room. Strategy C. Affect labeling. Instead of saying I am depressed, say I am noticing a feeling of heaviness. This subtle shift in language moves the experience from your identity to an external observation. 6. Navigating the American healthcare system. Seeking help in the US can be a bureaucratic nightmare, which is the last thing a depressed person needs. Here is a simplified path. Step 1. The primary care physician (PCP). You don't need to find a psychiatrist first. Your regular doctor can run blood tests to rule out thyroid issues or vitamin D deficiencies, which often mimic depression. They can also provide initial prescriptions. Step 2. Therapy modalities. Not all therapy is talking about your childhood. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, focused on changing thought patterns. DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, best for intense emotional regulation. EMDR, crucial if your depression is rooted in past trauma. Step 3. Crisis resources. If the noise in your head becomes too loud, call or text 988. The National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, available 24/7. Crisis text line. Text home to 741,741. 7. The path forward. Patience and self-compassion. Recovery is not a straight line. It is a series of loops. You will have good weeks followed by bad days. This is not a relapse. It is a normal part of the healing process. Final truth. In a society that demands perfection, your struggle is a testament to your depth, not your deficiency. You are navigating a difficult human experience in a complicated time. Every small act, drinking water, stepping outside, reaching out, is a victory. Since you've agreed, let's build out that depression first aid kit and a clear, step-by-step guide to finding affordable care in the US. When you are in the fog of depression, decision fatigue is real. You don't need more options, you need a preset plan so you don't have to think when things get heavy. Part 1. Your personal depression first aid kit. Think of this as a break glass in case of emergency plan. These are low-energy, high-impact actions designed for when your battery is at 5%. 1. The low-energy menu. When you can't cook or clean, choose one from this menu. The 2-minute tidy. Set a timer for 120 seconds. Take out only trash. Stop when the timer dings. The hydration reset. Drink 16 ounces of cold water. Dehydration mimics the fatigue of depression. The fresh air minimum. Open one window or stand on your porch for 60 seconds. Do not feel obligated to walk. Just breathe different air. 2. The sensory grounding kit. Depression traps you in your head. Grounding pulls you back into your body using the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. 5 things you can see: a lamp, a crack in the wall, a tree. 4 things you can touch: the fabric of your shirt, your cold hands. 3 things you can hear: traffic, the fridge humming. 2 things you can smell: coffee, laundry detergent. 1 thing you can taste: mint, water. 3. The safe people shortlist. Identify 3 people who get it. You don't have to explain yourself to them. The listener. The one you call when you need to vent. The distractor. The one you call when you just want to talk about movies or sports to forget the pain. The helper. The one you can text: I'm struggling. Can you remind me to eat dinner tonight? Part 2. Navigating affordable care in the US. The American healthcare system is notoriously complex. If insurance or cost is a barrier, use these specific hacks to find support. 1. The sliding scale search. Many therapists offer lower rates for people based on income. Open Path Collective. This is a non-profit nationwide network of therapists who provide sessions for $30, $70 for people in financial need. Psychology Today directory. Use their Find a Therapist tool and filter by sliding scale in the price section. 2. Federally Qualified Health Centers (FQHCs). These are community-based organizations that provide comprehensive primary care and mental health services, regardless of your ability to pay. How to find one? Search HRSA Find a Health Center, or visit findahealthcenter.hrsa.gov. They often charge on a sliding fee scale based on your family size and income. 3. Training clinics, university programs. If you live near university with a psychology or counseling graduate program, they often have training clinics to benefit. You see a graduate student supervised by a licensed professional. The cost, often as low as $5, $20 per session. 4. Employee Assistance Programs (EAPS). If you work for a medium to large American company, check your benefits. Most EAPS offer 3 to 8 free therapy sessions per year. These are completely confidential and separate from your HR file. This expanded guide is designed to speak to the heart of the American experience, the pressure to perform, the digital noise, and the deep desire for a life that feels meaningful again. Below is a detailed briefing of the core concepts, organized to help your audience understand not just what to do, but why it works. 1. The biological reality. It's not your fault. In America, we often view health as a matter of grit. If you're tired, you drink more coffee. If you're sad, you buckle up. We need to shift this narrative. The neurobiology of shutdown. When you are depressed, your brain is in a protective freeze state. The amygdala is constantly sending out SOS signals, making you feel scanned for threats. Because your prefrontal cortex decision center is offline. You aren't lazy for not doing the dishes. Your brain literally hasn't sent the signal to your muscles to move. The hippocampus and memory. Many Americans feel guilty about brain fog. This is a physical symptom. Chronic stress hormones like cortisol act like acid on the hippocampus. Healing isn't just a mood change, it's a biological repair process. 2. The cultural kindling. Why Americans struggle. We live in a hustle culture that treats humans like machines. This creates 3 specific drivers of depression. The perfectionism trap. We are taught that we are only as good as our last accomplishment. This makes rest feel like failure, leading to a state of chronic exhaustion. The digital mirror. Social media creates a global village, where we compare our messy reality to someone else's filtered highlight reel. This leads to social comparison theory, where our brain concludes we are losing at life. The loss of community. We have traded physical porches and community centers for digital feeds. This lack of physical presence denies our brain the oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It needs to feel safe. 3. Reclaiming the morning. The stability anchor. Structure is the enemy of depression. When you have no plan, the inner critic fills the silence. Sunlight as medicine. The most powerful tool we have is the circadian rhythm. Early morning light tells your brain to stop producing melatonin and start producing serotonin. This regulates your mood and your sleep-wake cycle. The small win strategy. Making your bed or drinking water isn't about cleanliness or health. It's about self-efficacy. It's proof that you can set a goal and achieve it, which slowly rewires the brain's reward system. 4. Movement. The biological thaw. We must stop treating exercise as a punishment for what we ate and start treating it as a reward for our brain. BDNF, the brain's miracle grow. Physical movement releases a protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. This protein actually helps regrow the connections in the hippocampus that were damaged by stress. Low friction movement. On bad days, do not aim for the gym. Aim for a floor yoga session or a pantry pace walking back and forth in the kitchen. The goal is to get the blood flowing to break the freeze response. 5. Navigating the help maze. In the US, the barrier to entry for mental health care is often the cost and the paperwork. The PCP shortcut. Your primary care physician is your first line of defense. They can rule out vitamin D deficiency or anemia, both of which are rampant in the US and mimic the symptoms of depression. Affordable options, *FQHCs. These are hidden gems in the US health system that provide care based on what you can afford. Open Path Collective, a vital resource for the middle class who might make too much for aid but too little for $200. Our therapy. 6. The opposite action philosophy. This is the most practical tool in the guide. Depression is a pull toward darkness and isolation. Healing is a push toward light and connection. Gentle rebellion. When depression says, stay in the dark, you don't have to go for a run, you just have to turn on a lamp. This tiny rebellion proves to your subconscious that you are still the captain of the ship, even if the sea is rough. A final brief for your audience. Depression in America is often a silent war because we are afraid of being seen as unproductive. But true strength isn't found in pretending to be okay. It's found in the courage to be honest about the struggle. You aren't behind in life. You are navigating a health crisis in a culture that doesn't always value rest. Taking these steps is an act of defiance against a condition that wants you to give up.